separate unisex restrooms there with a little maintenance space in between.
Okay. But you're right, the one out there is a single.
I think you're right. Okay, any other questions?
The only question I have is is there a practical way to get a restroom, or a sidewalk down to the existing restrooms?
To the what?
The existing restrooms down on
Down to the east or the west
The
side?
west
the
side.
west side. I mean, we're so close to it, I just wondered if there any thought to, or is that fence so they can't get down that way, or?
I'd have to-
No,
You got your ice
that's
rink
quite
there
a
too,
hike.
Ken, or
Huh?
remember, it'd have to go out and around that ice rink type thing.
The ice rink's right there.
I know what's there, I just think there's more parking down there, it's only natural people will park down there when it's crowded. It's a short distance to get one up in that area, so.
Well, we had, it's not as short as you think, I don't think. It's, we had measured it off when we were, having discussions about cameras here. It's well over 300 feet,
Really?
to get down there. Because that's where the power, because those cameras are tied in that existing restroom area.
Okay.
So it's over 300 feet. Plus there's quite a bit of grade change there too.
Just 5 minutes.
I mean, and then when we went to, when we demoed the original one, and we got comments in, some of the comments were, it'd be nice if there was a restroom on that side of the park, because of people using the shelter house and
Yeah.
those things.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I entertain a motion.
Motion to establish October 6th, 2020 at 12 o'clock for a public hearing on plan specification contracts. Am I on the wrong one? No, I am. Contracts estimated to cost 2020 Cleveland Park Restroom Improvement Project, and establish October 29th, 2020 at 10 a.m. to receive and open bids November 3rd, 2020 meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second to establish October 6, 2020 at 12 p.m. for a public hearing on plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of the cost of the 2020 Cleveland Park Restroom Improvement Project, and to establish October 29, 2020 at 10 a.m. to receive and open bids, with the said bids to be considered at the November 3rd meeting. We have, all those in favor say aye. We don't have. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, moving on to number 3 of the action items, the Iowa Federal Recreational Trails Program. The Plywood Trails Foundation has presented the City of Lamar as an opportunity to apply for funding on a portion of Phase 1 and Phase 1A of the Plywood Trail. As the contract authority for the construction of Phase 1, Phase 1A, and Phase 2A, the City of Lamar's must be the applicant. The application is for approximately 0.25 miles of trail, the Lamar's and Merrill trailheads, and the bridge over the west branch of the Floyd River. The application is due October 1st, 2020, to the IDOT with award around the end of the year. The city previously applied in 2018 and 19, however, were not awarded. Recommendation is the administration recommends council approval. The financial request is for $350,000 of the $1.5 million project, which will be funded by the Lamar's Area Development Foundation and the the Plywood Trail Foundation. Having said all that, is there any questions in regard to that? Jason, you got any comments on?
There's no pictures included in it, but, so I guess we can explain the route. Brett Langley's here from
Oh, okay.
McClure also. You didn't recognize him in this.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Mayor and Council, Brett Langley with McClure Engineering. We are working with the Plywood Trail Committee to get the plans and specs put together for this. The repackaging we've done here of what this particular request is for is basically the $3 million portion from Merrill to Lamar's didn't get funding the last 2 years, so we're trying to break it up into some smaller pieces to improve our score on those funding requests. So the package we broke this up into would be, the trail is gonna start at, or at least this piece, the trail will start at the north end of Merrill and then go over a bridge that we're gonna put in over the west fork of the Floyd River there, and then just come down from the bridge and stop right there for now. And then also it will include a trailhead at the south edge of the Lamar city limits, right there by NIPCO. So 2 trailheads and a bridge essentially is what this first package is scheduled to be. And then the next package would be the, which we'd see a year or 2 out from now, would be the connection between those 2 trailheads essentially.
So if you apply for this and you get it, is it use it or lose it?
Correct. I think it's up to 2 years that you have to get it done, which, I don't know how much you've spoke on this, sorry, Jason, but some of the donors for the project have kind of kicked their donation schedule forward a little bit, and they want to donate some of the money faster. So within the next 6 months to a year, I believe, we'll have some more of the funding secured to start constructing this phase. So this grant would help fund portions of that.
This a matching grant?
No. There's no particular amount that has to be matched. I believe they just want to know if there's enough funding available to complete the construction of the project.
And I assume you were assuming that we're gonna just automatically get the grant, aren't you?
We are certainly hoping, but yes, not assuming.
After being turned out to you.
Yeah.
I got a couple questions. I'm very pro plywood trail. I think it's a great idea. However, I've been very clear that I support it to the north edge of Merrill, which part of this section is what you're talking about. However, I've also been clear that I don't want a piece of trail, a dead spot, and a piece of trail.
Correct, yeah.
And
So-
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep, a trail to nowhere essentially.
A trail to nowhere, or a 4 mile, 3 mile piece of trail, okay? So I understand that there is a problem because of the Sentinel one. I was not aware. I was under the impression that all the i's had been dotted to get to the north end of Merrill. But now I'm understanding that there's a glitch. NIPCO. So what is our plan? Because I don't want to apply for this, put in a section of trail and still have this glitch. And I was under the impression the glitches were taken care of.
I don't believe there's a glitch anymore.
Have you got something in writing that says there's not a glitch anymore?
We've had
Nothing
plenty of meetings.
I don't care. Do we have something in writing? Because, I mean, words are absolutely worthless.
There's nothing in writing saying that we have an exact route accepted by the DOT, which we're not going to have until we present them check plans to review. In the same way, there's nothing in writing saying that they're not going to allow our suggested route. So the Dakin Schultz with the DOT, he had some conversations early on, and he's had some conversations more recently on the route for that trail. And the latest we've been told is that the route in front of the wall at NIPCO is not a preferred route, but it would be allowed if there was no other route. So to this point, we've explored quite a bit with NIPCO, trying to put it through their parking lot, and I believe their board has not been entirely receptive of that. So that leaves us with the option of putting it in front of the wall. So in my recent conversations with DOT and in our recent meetings with the committee, it's been discussed that that's generally going to be allowed now that we can't put it through NIPCO's parking lot.
So where is the Lamar trailhead start? Are we to that point running on the C-38?
On south side of C-38.
Okay.
So there's that green space in between, that larger green space between C-38 and NIPCO in there,
How are we getting across C-38?
Carefully.
riding your bike or walking.
I mean, a smart ass.
No,
How are we getting across C-38? I mean, is there gonna be some flashing lights? I mean, what do we got?
I don't think there's flashing.
Because, I mean, you come up
It
over
would
that
probably be
hill.
no different, Clark, than if you look, if you go down Key, we just put that Key Avenue trail in.
Right.
Okay, up towards the top of that hill, that's where it crosses from east to west or west to east. There's signage there.
Okay.
I don't believe those have lights on. I think it's just signage.
Right. The only reason I ask on C-38 is because you come up over the hill and then you've got the option to turn on Key or
Yeah.
head on down to 75. And it can be fairly blinding.
Yeah, I mean, so there's,
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I am a fan of the trail because I am such a disfan of county road usage for bicycles and the blind spots and all that. But I'm not gonna go there. Bottom line is, I just want it to be safe.
yeah, I mean, so I believe, so the rec trail users will have the same type of signage that is on the Key Avenue one. I believe there's stop signs probably, or you wouldn't know, Brett, you wouldn't know. I believe there's stop signs there for the users of the trail. So there it is, okay, stop, and they better look. I don't know, are we planned for
I can
warning
speak to
signs
that.
ahead of time on C-38?
There hasn't been a conversation on that yet, but what it would look like is it's gonna be a calculation basically on the sight distance coming over that hill. And if trail users crossing right there, if it meets the warrants, then it needs a sign ahead of time for them to be able to be visible, then some kind of warning sign would be put up further on C-38. So that's something that'll be looked at for sure when the DOT and the county reviews those plans.
What's your first name again?
Brett?
Brett, sorry about that.
Yep.
I just,
No, you're fine.
Brett, my concern here is twofold. Is first of all, I would like to see something signed by the DOT and or NIPCO that says we have a pass. I wanted to see something signed. Number two is, if we're crossing C-38, isn't that something that we're gonna need the supervisors involved in for permission to do that or not?
That lies within city limits.
Okay, it's a question. It's a question. I'm
Yep.
just asking because I don't want dead spots in the trail.
Already thought of that.
So, and that's generally how we've, settled on the alignment we have right now. It's all within DOT or city right-of-way or properties, so that the county doesn't necessarily say, no, you can't have the trail here anymore.
Can't
So,
cross here. Oh, cool.
Yep.
So that was my question.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so the trailhead, back to your question, Ken, I don't have that either. Assuming it'll be included in what you see next time, or you'll see it at some point. It's in that grass area. That's a little confusing area over there, because C-38 used to have a different alignment, used to be straight. So then when the bypass was put in, C-38 was shifted to create a better angle coming into bypass. So it left some ground over there, and that ground is in city limits. And then there's a strip, I don't know, 50-foot wide, that is still the county before you even get to NIPCO's property. So with the realignment, it caused a little bit of confusion, but our south corporate limits never changed. It stayed on the section line and not the center line of C-38.
But we're also,
It did.
Clark, we're not gonna get everybody signs off on this deal until we get the money and then get a plan. And then the plan has to be signed off by everybody. So you're gonna get about 3 more swings at this.
More conversation.
The way I look at it, right?
Well, I think we need to, how much longer do we need before we have DOT's approval on the plans?
We will have a review with them within the next month or so of the preliminary plans.
Because I agree with Clark too. I think that would be a huge step. I mean, to finally have their
Bless it.
consent on
Right,
it.
So,
so
yeah.
I'm saying either way, we've gotta go forward with this request. We still are subject to, if we don't like the way the DOT
Okay.
comes back,
Well, yeah.
then we turn back the money.
All right.
And a couple of quick items, I guess, to answer your question. This The goal right now is to be under construction of this phase by summer of 2021. So we need to get the preliminary plans into DOT pretty soon to,
Have a chance of it.
you know, get them all moving forward.
Yeah, because they don't move very fast.
Are there any,
Them and the FAA.
I'm smiling under here, but yes, they,
That's why you got job security.
are there any other questions for Brent? Hearing none, thanks a lot for
Yeah,
your
thank you.
update, and good luck on getting the grant.
thank you, appreciate
Motion
it.
adopted in 36, approving submittal of application for Iowa Federal Recreational Trail Program funding Phase 1 and 1A of the Plywood Trail.
Is there a second?
So moved.
Motion made and second to adopt resolution number 2036, approving the submittal of an application for Federal Recreation Trails Program funding for Phase 1 and Phase 1A of the Plywood Trail. Do we have a roll call on that, Beth?
Donlin?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yep.
Nelson?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on to discussion. Mike?
I'm good.
Clark? Rex?
So, talk about the cleanup days, this week, is this it?
It's the very first thing on my,
I'll say, geez, I just got karma going on. But cleanup's going on, okay, so we're having to still go out there and those kind of things. We now have, I believe, 4 communities up in the Lakes region that have decided to pick it up at the curb this year. We had a couple of them this weekend, and it was just scavenger hunt city. I don't know if they have to pick up anything when they're done, after the people come around and pick up other people's junk. So, but, I mean, we're talking about massive amounts of stuff sitting on people's curbs. So I highly think that even though it costs money, we should look at that next year.
Good point.
Well, I don't know if we have time this year, Court, with the fact that it's basically gonna be October. You know, we don't know what kind of weather it is and stuff like that. We can get a plan better, we can deal with the Plymouth County landfill better. We can say, yes, it's gonna be May or whatever. And we can run through our budget on solid waste, we can make sure we got enough money for it, and those kind of things. I just think that that's and 2 or 3 of the 4 communities up there, I don't think have done it for a number of years. The one that just decided to do it last time was Milford, they haven't done it since 16, and they're doing it this year. And, their council person would say exactly what I said is, well, we are not gonna come back again. We're not gonna knock on people's doors and ask you if you have trash or stuff to pick up. If it's not on the curb at 7 o'clock on Monday morning, one time through the city, period, end of story.
Have they already done it up there?
No, that one's coming, the Spirit Lake one was this weekend.
So I can bring my junk up there?
No, they already picked up some. You know, I was driving behind cars and I was trying to figure out why everybody's slowing down, but we had all these pickup trucks full of stuff, and I'm going, what the heck are they doing? Well, then I figured it out, because they'd go by every pile
Treasure out.
and see what stuff they could pick up. And, then they had a garage sale this weekend, so, you know, it's quite an entrepreneurial season, but let them be the opportunists, right? Right?
Then it goes to flea markets the next year.
Yeah, it's okay. And I
I think it's good, Rex, that we certainly keep that in consideration, maybe even budget for it.
well, I just think that we've got some of these things that everybody in town likes a lot of things we're doing. I mean, Bev sits there and writes in the great article about us doing the railroad track crossing, and everybody said, yeah, that was really a good deal. Well, it took us, 3 years, 2.5 years to get a red grant, to get it through and get them there and stuff, but we're doing those kind of things. Building Cleveland, I mean, nobody thought it could be done in 18 months, and basically we got it done and everybody loves it. So, I mean, we can do these things, we're doing a great job as a city, so there's a couple of those comments that just get made every so often. And, yeah, between that and a few chuckles in the road, we're good.
Good.
I would,
Okay.
I would hope that would go back to the committee so that we can look up the number of hours it took to pick up and the cost that was involved in it?
Well, it needs to go back.
We have records of all that.
It needs to go back to committee, and
I do think that one of the problems, if I remember right, was people strung it out a long time. You know, they'd go past the week where
Yep.
you were allowed, and so our city crews, you know, had a lot of repeat because.
going back to the same street, they said, oh, they never came down my street.
But you know,
Well,
I'm
they did
thinking,
come down my
I'm
street.
thinking that that could be changed by some fines,
Yeah, we could do,
you know?
we could be a little smarter, but, you know, now that we've got a couple up north, we can actually ask them what the results are for this year and see.
When's Milford, this weekend?
No, next weekend.
Cause I'm going to a wedding this weekend, I drive around there.
Hey, you always find a gift for a wedding.
I like it, I'm saving some money already.
I'll pass.
Okay,
This was done pretty fast, sorry about that.
moving on. Next one is Jason. Can you give us an update?
Okay, fall cleanup starts this Saturday and all of next week. So Saturday and then Monday through Friday of next week. We just heard about the federal rec trails grant. If you remember back in June, we applied for the state one, which was probably the third time for that one also. Notified yesterday, not approved,
Not approved?
no. So that's the state rec trail program. And that was for, I believe at that time it was still for the full route from Lamar's to Merrill is what that application was for.
Jason, if I may ask, was that the REAP?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. State Recreational Trails Program.
We didn't apply for the REAP, right?
Yeah, we didn't apply for the REAP.
Cause that got Xed, yeah.
Yeah.
Did we get something from them to see how we scored?
I believe, I got the, is it letter or email? Yesterday. I think it was a letter yesterday. But then we can go to that website and look up, there's a way of finding out how you scored.
Be nice to